So, to recap, Thor, Love and Thunder. Let's check out
Let's do it.
the modern cinematic masterpiece. No, wait, disaster piece. Disaster piece that is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
It's not a masterpiece. It is a disaster piece.
It's you know what? It's oh man, it's almost like Ragnarok again, where it's like this would be such a great movie without Thor in it.
Yeah, even removing Thor wouldn't have saved this. We'll get to that. But having said that, budget was $250 million. It made a respectable $759 million.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still the second highest grossing in the franchise. I was curious to see like the critical reviews for this, because this one, like, apparently, like, the critics shit on this one pretty hard for good reason. But the audience meter, as it's in and around the high 70s. 75 was the lowest for Dark World. This one was 77. Ragnarok was 78. And then the first one, I think, was 78 as well, somewhere around there. So I didn't really delve too much into that.
Doesn't this actually have a lower critic score than Dark World?
Yes, it does.
Wow.
It does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's reasons for that too.
Yeah.
So the director, Taika Waititi, written by Taika Waititi and Jennifer Caton Robinson. Cast is, well, Thor is Chris Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm.
Gorr the God Butcher, Christian Bale. Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson. Jane Foster / the Mighty Thor is Natalie Portman. Sif, Jamie Alexander. Kurg, Taika Waititi. Zeus, Russell Crowe. Whole bunch of fucking cameos. So the Guardians of the Galaxy all reprise their role.
Yeah.
Darcy Lewis, Eric Selvig, Heimdall, all reprise their roles. All of Chris's kids.
Yeah.
And his brother.
And his wife.
Well, his wife is always, anytime she's in a movie, he's in a movie with Natalie Portman, she's in it for the kissing scenes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Thor 1, she was in it for a kissing scene.
Oh.
Because he's too tall and Portman's too short.
Right.
So in the kiss, anytime there's a kissing scene where her back is to the camera, that's his wife.
No, but she was legit in this one.
Oh, I did not know that. Who did she play?
The Wolf Woman.
I was just thinking it's probably the Wolf Woman that he banged.
The Wolf Woman, yeah.
In the credits there. So all of Chris's family, except for Liam Hemsworth, Matt Damon and Sam Neill reprise their roles.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's another one, but I'll save that for a little bit later, just because.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was really, really, really cool. And then, of course, you've got archive footage from the previous movies for the previous characters.
Yeah.
So that's that. So the story, the basic synopsis is Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Kurg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gorr the God Butcher, who intends to destroy all the gods. Okay. So overall, story's fine. Like, there's really nothing wrong with the story. The basic premise that I just said is cool. It sounds really, really cool. You know? The one thing I really liked was the ultimate message of learning to let go. I thought was really good.
Yes. And
handled surprisingly well, considering how incredibly rushed this whole movie felt.
Yeah, a lot happens in the movie, that's for sure. But no, the end and the ultimate message is fantastic. It really is. And I hope the results of that ending message. I'm not going to spoil it, but I hope we get to see more of it in the MCU somewhere down the line.
Well, I kind of, I felt this is where it's kind of ironic. Uh, we, we talk about how like some movies are too long, and you cut this, you cut this, you cut this, and so it sounds like, so it almost seems like Disney's like, okay, well, we can't do 3-hour movies all the time. And you're like, no, you shouldn't.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you should also recognize when a movie needs a bit more time. So this was
Yes.
like 200 minutes, 2 hours, just about 2 hours, when it could have been 220, 230.
Yeah.
And the main thing is because there's so much going on, but the big things are like Jane is dying from cancer. And that's a heavy thing to deal with. I don't know anyone that's dealt with it, but I mean, I'm not stupid. That's a heavy thing to deal with.
Yeah.
So part of the problem with Rush, Rush, Rush is that you very quickly go, oh yeah, remember she's got cancer. Okay, anyway, back onto the story. Oh, by the way, just in case you forgot, she's got cancer. Okay, back to the story. And so when it gets to the end, uh, you said you're not going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil it.
Okay, go
Okay.
for it. Go for
The
it.
comics have been out for a couple years now,
Yeah.
and she didn't sign on for any more movies. And I said she's had cancer 3 times. So she dies. She dies because being Thor uh, prevented her from getting better with the cancer. Like, for the just the act of being Thor prevented the chemo meds and everything to actually help her, which made no sense to me. But okay, fine. Um, so when we get to that beat, that should have been more of a gut punch beat as opposed to like, I mean, I was like, yeah, well, like it sucks, but it should have been more like a.
Mm.
But they're too busy. Like, so getting more time with Jane Foster, the cancer stuff, I felt would have actually lended more weight to the ending. It would have made when Thor's saying to Gorr, he's like, you know what, you've already won. Do whatever you want. I'm just gonna stay with the person I love for the little time that we have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's an amazing and emotionally intelligent response from Thor, who for the last 2 movies, excluding the Russo's treatment of him, has essentially been a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Like a dumb fuck. Which blows my mind because like even in Thor 1 and 2 and the Whedon Avengers movies, it's like Captain America. Those guys aren't the smartest guys in the room, but they're not retarded. They're
Yeah.
not dumb,
Yeah.
you know? And then, more importantly, the first movie with Thor, we dealt with a douchebag who was reckless, who gave no fucks about anyone except for himself and his glory,
Yeah.
and the Warriors 3 and Sif, but that's all part of the glorious shit. The whole purpose of him being sent to Earth was fucking Odin being like, you got to learn some humility, son. And he learned it by the end of that movie. And even though I've said before, I think it's incredibly rushed, he learned it so that when he showed up in Avengers and then in the Dark World, you could move beyond that.
Hmm.
And then Ragnarok hits, and we're like, no, we got to go back to that.
Yeah.
And I have no issues with them having Hemsworth infuse more of his personality into this character because it's worked. Okay. We may not necessarily think that's the best version of that character, but money talks. Ragnarok made like 860 million. This made like 100 million less, but it still made more money than the previous 2 Thor movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Almost combined, not quite, but almost combined. This movie made almost like more than that. But why does he have to be a fucking moron?
Someone said, I read online, someone said, if you watch the movie as if it's being told by Korg throughout the whole thing, because it starts with him talking with the children. If you
Mhm.
watch the movie, and Thor doing all these stupid things and shit, but you're pretending like it's coming from Korg, it's more enjoyable.
I shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to do that either.
And
That
nobody
makes
should sit
sense.
there and say,
That makes
like,
sense, and it might be what they were going with. But when I'm seeing fucking Thor pull off Van Damme splits in a fucking battle, I'm just like, good God.
sorry, that was funny. That was legit funny for me.
Good
But
God.
that was also early in the movie. That
Yeah.
was early in the movie where I didn't spend 2 hours sitting through force joke after force joke after force joke after force joke. Because in fact, shortly after that one scene, because I thought that was fucking funny, shortly after that, eventually I was going,
Mhm.
yes, of course you're going to destroy the temple. Like almost immediately, I was like, okay, okay. And I feel bad because like I was saying, if you liked Ragnarok, you're gonna like this.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I no longer think. I think like there's elements to this that yeah, if you liked Ragnarok, you would have liked this. But overall, and again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you like this, great, good. Like I'm happy that you like this, and I'm not going to sit there and say you're wrong for whatever reason. This is just our opinions and my opinion and whatever. But like, yikes. I think like if they would have spent less time trying to make every scene so funny, then when you get to the
Right?
scenes with cancer, or even just the fact that we've got a guy who calls himself the God Butcher who's
Mhm.
kidnapped a bunch of kids.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, we need to have the fucking screaming goats in every scene, and we need to see like,
Okay. The screaming goats made me laugh. So
okay, you know what? Okay, if that's the case, great. But the
I
second they were introduced, I was like, okay, that's funny, but that's gonna get old real quick. The
dude,
second that the second time I saw them, I was like, yeah, exactly, just like that. So it wasn't funny for me at
when
all. But
when they hit the planet,
nope.
no, man, I was laughing. I was laughing.
And
That's one of the few times. See, I hated
good.
the splits. I hated the splits, but I thought the goats are funny.
Which
So,
which which is weird because like I'm reversed where I was like the
but
splits I
the
thought was
goats
fucking
can be
hilarious.
stupid. The goats can be stupid. I don't want to see Thor being stupid. You know what I mean?
And again like going back to that. So like he's actually even stupider in this movie than he was
Oh,
in Ragnarok.
so much stupider. I mean, he
Like in
literally
Ragnarok,
rides his hammer like a friggin' broom, and he's a witch. Oh,
um,
ugh.
also the other part too that really pissed me off is so Taika Waititi's talking about how this movie will really explore uh, Tessa's character, Valkyrie, and explore her more as, and they made a point of saying bisexual stuff. And I was like, whatever, just explore her as a person. Like, we don't
Yeah,
have to,
yeah.
like we've established that she's into both. Okay. We don't have to keep beating everyone over the head with that. But then they talk about how that's going to be part of the focal point of this movie, and it isn't at all. I would have liked to see
No.
more of her get like juggling the aspect of being the king of Asgard, which I like that they still called her the king and they didn't just gender it,
Yeah, yeah.
But have her be the king, but also have her juggle a life around that. Like even maybe show a couple clips of her trying to date, you know,
Mhm.
or something, or even just having someone leave her quarters and it looks like things happened, something to give her more personality other than just another woman to kind of laugh at Thor and make him look stupid more so than he's doing himself.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. In terms of story, I would have also liked to see more scenes of Gorr killing gods.
Yeah, for being called the God Butcher, we don't actually see him killing any gods except one.
Show don't tell. Show don't tell.
Yeah.
You showed me a montage of Thor getting back into shape,
Yeah.
but you didn't show me a montage of Gorr killing people.
Yeah.
I think if you would have had it doesn't have to be back to back, but if you had a quick couple of clips of him killing a bunch of gods, then when you have Sif saying, "Hey, look, we need your help," now we're like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna kill her.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh fuck, he's gonna kill her," because we just saw sure, he killed the one god, like he killed them all with the sword, and that's fine. I like how the sword immediately makes it so he can kill everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody has a shot against him.
No.
But so story wise, yeah, show me some of that. You know, maybe in the extra 20 or 30 minutes that you cut from this, because there were cut scenes from this, because even Christian Bale has said, I filmed scenes with a bunch of people, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and they're all gone. It's like, well, show me some of those. Give me more of a reason to fear Gorr, as opposed to just telling me he's got a sword that kills gods, and he's killed a bunch of gods, and now he's gonna kill everything.
Yeah.
You know, which is disappointing because Bale is one of the greatest actors of our time.
You know what? Bale was still incredible in this film.
Yep, there's really only one
I
part that I didn't like, but that's a direction thing.
yeah, well, I mean, we'll touch on that, but I mean, like, as much as I dislike Thor and Ragnarok and this, the villains have been pretty damn good.
Yep, yep. I don't really have anything else to really talk about the story. Like overall, the story itself is
Story
great.
wise, I got one
The
more thing to touch
execution is
on.
terrible.
Yeah, the City of the Gods. I thought that was a really cool concept. That was done horribly.
I forgot it was Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Like his depiction of Zeus was ridiculous. I mean, okay, fine, it's a different take on it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you know, like it's not like Russell Crowe is a hard guy to recognize. He's got an almost unmistakable look, and yet I I almost thought he was like Italian.
I could tell it was Russell right away, which made
Well,
it
Michelle
even
said the same thing
more.
because I was like, "Oh my god, that's Russell Crowe." She's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh right, yes." Yeah, I knew he was in it too. That's the best part. I knew he was in it, but I had no fucking clue. I knew he was Zeus. That's the best part. I knew he was in it. I knew he was Zeus. Completely forgot just because the way this movie was. I was like, I don't. It's hard for me to get invested. But yes, I agree. The concept of the gods hanging out on God World,
Yeah.
great.
Super cool.
Execution, shit.
Shit.
Just
Absolute
shit.
shit. Like, oh, it's fucking Zeus, and you did that to him. Oy.
So, cast was great as always. It's like
It's a great cast. I mean, it's a
the
fantastic
Marvel,
cast.
Disney, they fucking cast phenomenal actors.
Yeah.
They use him almost for the most part great. Um, Jane Foster's arc, again, concept, awesome. Okay, I loved that the hammer called to her.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too.
Okay, and deemed her worthy.
Yep.
And she became the mighty Thor. And I feel bad because prior to this, I was calling her Lady Thor. And I love that immediately she's like, call me Mighty Thor. Like, I'm Mighty Thor. I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. I loved that she looked exactly the same as she did in the comic book. I loved that she got arms on her.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the things that she did with Mjolnir, like when she split it apart.
Oh, when it split apart, shot like bullets everywhere?
And then pull it right back in. I was
that
like,
was awesome.
Oh, that is awesome.
Why didn't they do that in the comic?
So great.
Holy
I was just like, fuck, man, that's so good. You know what? I will say, I know for sure this was done for toys. I was really disappointed that Thor's fur suit that he had at the beginning
Yeah.
was it. He immediately switched to his Stormbreaker, ugly yellow, blue, gross thing with that horrible helmet.
Yeah.
Just to make a stupid gag about the helmet, and I was just like, ugh. And then the rest, like seeing him, like the only thing I could say is like when it's in the shadow realm, then yeah, those bright colors sort of jump out.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the way they did the shadow realm, which was awesome again, meant that the color scheme didn't matter because it's mostly just the lightning aspects that was making it visually representative, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that fur lined suit, I think that
looked deadly.
That was one of the ones they used in the comic books. I think that was one of the more
that was during
ones.
I think the beginning of Jason Aaron's run, right? With Steve Ribic. he had
Yeah,
that big fur liner, and
yeah, because that was right out of Fear itself, where he was no longer worthy.
yeah, and
That's right. Yeah,
a lot of the like, oh, okay, they'll come up during visuals, but I mean, like, I really do like how so much of the movie came directly from the page.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Like a lot of the stuff was just awesome.
Um,
But
Tessa
hold on,
Thompson, whew,
oh, wasted, wasted.
wasted, but what we got was excellent.
That's how good she is.
She's so good. She
That's
is
how good
so
she is. That
good.
she's taking these little bits
Yeah.
and making it so good. Um, but before, because like it's on the tips of our tongues. But Roy fucking Kent as Hercules.
I couldn't
Fucking
believe it.
hell.
I couldn't
Fucking
believe it.
hell. And he was cast. Like I knew he was cast in the movie. I knew that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what role he was. And when I saw him as
Hercules.
fucking Hercules, I was like, holy shit.
That
You
is
know,
awesome.
I like, how do you make me pumped for a Thor 5 after I sat through 2 hours of this where there was snippets of like nuggets,
Yeah.
pearls. There it is. Little
Pearls.
pearls, right? You gave me a fucking pearl necklace, as dirty a connotation that has now.
Mhm.
Thank you, Roy fucking Kent.
That,
And the
yeah,
fact that they went comic accurate with his appearance was surprising.
it really is. It really is. I mean, I feel like he's going to have to bulk up a lot more if he's going to go
Why?
if he's
He's a
going to go
god.
head to head with it. Well, Hemsworth is like 3 times his size, man.
Okay, but he's a god.
Yeah, he's a
Zeus
god.
had a fucking belly,
Zeus had a lot of things going wrong with him.
and he sounded Italian. I'm gonna reiterate. I
A
don't know why
flamboyant
that.
Italian.
Like, I almost would have preferred like a shitty Greek accent over Italian because it's fucking Greek
I
lore.
was
But
so excited that he was playing Zeus. That is such perfect casting. I can't wait to see it.
yeah,
And
and then you
then
see it, and you're like,
and then you see it and you deeply
oh,
regret
oh.
everything.
Another one that was wasted. Is fucking Jamie Alexander as Sif.
But at least she was fucking in it this time,
She was only in it to shut people up. That
right?
was the only reason. That like, there's give me like, okay, it's cool that she's training him after the fact. I
Mhm.
thought that was cool that she's training him to fight, and the fact that like they weren't going to use magic or cybernetics or anything to give her another like give her back her arm. Okay, fine, she's going
Yeah.
to deal with it. But the training I thought was a cool idea. She's in the movie for 30 fucking seconds. And they like made a deal about it. Hey, she's in the movie.
Yeah.
Remember you didn't see her in Ragnarok and you were pissed? She's in the movie now. It's like, oh, cool that she was in the movie for 30 seconds. Blink and you miss it both times.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm
That
glad
is
they didn't kill her. I'm glad they didn't kill her. I'll give them that. But give me some more meat on those bones. Like, again, drag out. Like, there's 20 to 30 minutes that you didn't have to cut out of this movie that you
Mhm.
did,
Yep.
But
And we'll never see that footage either, he said.
oh, yeah, of course not. Yeah,
Yeah.
why would we? Why would we?
Ah.
But yeah, so but again, we're talking about chemistry is great. Some
Yep.
of these people have been in multiple movies together. I was pumped when I saw Darcy. I was like, oh
Right?
man,
I was actually
that
just going to say
was
Kat
so
Dennings.
cool that they had her and Eric too with Selvig. I was like,
Yep.
oh, fucking right.
Yep.
And it made sense that that they would still be a part of her life and
Mhm.
they were gonna help her try and find this stuff. But yeah, but again, even though she did a really good job with what she had, Natalie Portman also wasted in this movie. And it shouldn't have been. It should have been more of a 50-50 in my opinion. Or maybe a 40-40-20 with some Valkyrie.
I don't know. I wouldn't say she was wasted. She did a lot in this movie. I mean, she could have just laid there dying in that bed and she came back as a mighty Thor to sacrifice herself to save Thor. I mean, I think she did
Yeah,
quite a
but
bit in the
that
movie.
that no, but I mean, there was never any doubt she was going to do that.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't there. So like, because this is me again, where I feel like because they rushed through everything, it robbed her of having that big, powerful ending.
Yeah.
You know, it not quite egregious, but it was kind of like with Morbius, where they were like, "Hey, he's got this horrible, debilitating disease. Hey, he's got this cure, but he has to continue consuming blood, otherwise he goes back." And they almost like do that one part where he starts to fall again, just to kind of remind you, like, "Oh yeah, remember?" And then they never never do it again because it's never a thing. And it's like, I mean, I don't need to be beat over the head with it, but
Yeah.
when we're talking about a character dying of cancer who's also a hero, give it a little bit more weight or some time to breathe and give it more weight. Because like, yes, I'm saying you knew of the for sure she was going to do it. Like you knew there was no way,
Mhm.
but it should have been like a yes, fucking rights instead of a okay, yes, all right, cool,
Yeah.
thank you. Is this movie over yet? Because I kind of want this movie over. But overall, like again, cast amazing for the most part. The cast is given, you know, stuff to do.
I never got her name, but the young girl that played Gore's daughter, she was so good.
That's Hemsworth's daughter.
Is it Hemsworth's daughter?
Yeah. So Hemsworth's daughter played Love,
Right, right. She becomes
and
Love. I forgot. Yeah,
Hemsworth's sons played two different versions of him. The
of
youngest one
him
played
as
younger
younger.
Thor, and then adolescent Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the way this ended. I don't know where we're going to see Thor again. Like, I don't know if we'll see a Thor 5.
It the amount of money the movie made, I have a hard time believing that there isn't going to be a Thor 5. But
I don't know.
but I don't think we're going to see Thor 5 until after the next two Avenger movies.
I think we got a better chance of seeing a Hercules TV series.
I'm going to say no just because that means he wouldn't be in Ted Lasso season 4.
Well, Ted Lasso's done at season 3.
Wait, the show's finished at
Yeah,
season 3?
season 3 is the final season.
Oh man,
It's a
no.
3-season show. So that's it.
Okay. All right. Well
So he's
then in
free.
that case,
He's free.
I'll spend most of the time going like, why doesn't he say like fuck a lot? Hercules should swear more. Talk about football.
Yeah.
Can't say anything wrong with the cast,
Yeah.
aside from a lot of them were misused.
um but yeah, no, I really did love Bale in this. I thought he like Hela, like Kate Blanchett as Hela in Ragnarok, he was the standout for me once. So like I don't know, I'm not a huge fan with Taika Waititi's Thor movies, but for some reason he's getting the villains right.
The only part that I didn't like was that one scene where he was with the kids
Oh, I found
and
that
he was
so
hamming it
eerie
up.
and creepy.
Yeah, I thought he was. I felt like it was more of a hamming it up situation. But
Yeah.
other than that particular scene, which you saw in the previews, that was the thing I saw in the previews, and I remember being like, "Oh fuck, here we go." But
Mhm.
because it was only in that one scene, everything else, like visually, I loved that he looked so starkly different than any other
Yeah.
bad guy.
Yeah.
Like it was literally just pale, fucking weird face, makeup, and then just a robe.
Yeah.
And he didn't like change into any sort of like Mighty Morphin Power Ranger version of himself or anything like that. It was just him, the sword, and I think but it's Christian Bale. That's the other part too.
Yeah.
So like, he was just so good in it all the way through. Um, like even at the end, like at the end, it had more weight to it, because all he wanted was his daughter back, which I get.
Mhm.
I understand that. Even though I don't have any kids, but I get it.
Yeah.
You want him back, and so I think but again, a little bit of a short shift because we could have seen him killing more gods to really lend more weight,
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
other than that, like it was really good, really, really, really good. But again, the cast is also really, really good. So
Yeah. I mean, whether you like the way the characters are portrayed or not, the cast is fucking great.
Exactly.
Yeah, and great chemistry between all of them too. Like,
Oh yeah.
how about Melissa McCarthy?
So anyway, visuals. I did not like that.
Oh,
I have
I
nothing
was so
against.
angry. I was so fucking angry. I
I
was
have
like,
nothing
"Are you
against
serious? She's in
Melissa
the."
McCarthy,
Oh,
but I did this. I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like it,
yeah.
and it wasn't even funny.
No,
Like that was the worst part.
I'm
It wasn't
surprised she
even
didn't
funny.
fall down and roll
And she
around.
is funny. Like she's actually legit funny, and I mean, I like her in a lot of things. It's just, you're right. Like I was half expecting her to like pratfall and make
Yeah.
fat jokes. And it's like, I get it, you're a fat woman, ha ha ha. But at least it was quick, it was in and
Oh
out.
yeah,
And I was like, okay,
nice and
fine,
quick. Nice and
all
quick.
right, all right.
Visuals are
Okay,
the highlight of the fucking movie. I mean, no doubt about it.
yeah, visuals for the most part, I thought this looked awesome.
It looks
I
incredible.
think it looked really really good. The Shadow Realm fight was the highlight for me. I
Holy
thought that
fuck.
was so cool. How it's all black and white except for splashes of color
Yeah,
when they were using their powers.
oh man, that was
Oh,
so fucking gorgeous. I can see why the shows look like shit this year because all the budget went into that scene.
yeah, exactly. Even this movie, like a lot of the like, is when they first showed the shadow creatures in Asgard, it was I think it was a poor choice to do it at night
Mhm.
because there was some scenes where I'm like, I kind of have a hard time telling what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, are these weird spider things or what exactly are they? And then of course, like in the actual fight scenes with like Thor and Mighty Thor and Tessa, yeah, sure, in Asgard you start to see more because of fires and stuff like that. So visually it starts to look a little bit better. But the Shadow Realm was like mwah, chef's kiss,
Oh,
whatever you want to
yeah.
call it, like just so cool. And yeah, like, and at least in that regard, like, okay, so Thor's Stormbreaker armor does kind of, stand out in that regard. But yeah, oh, it was just awesome.
Oh.
Plus, I just liked how they were getting their asses handed to them, you know. But I did like how it ended up being about Stormbreaker being the Rainbow Road. What the hell is that called?
Oh, yeah.
The Heimdall thing.
Yeah. The
The Asgard portal. That's what we'll
ah,
call it until we figure out
fuck.
the fucking name.
Why can't I think of it right now?
I
It's like
can't think of it
it's
either.
there and I just can't
Yep.
unlock the door.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. So then now, of course, he's going to pivot to get Stormbreaker and do whatever he can to get Stormbreaker. So I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Visually, it was cool. Uh, Thor giving the kids his power, visually cool, even though it made no fucking sense to me as to why he didn't do it at any point prior in the movie or any other
I thought
movie
the same
ever.
thing. He could do this the whole time?
Imagine how Infinity War would have went if, while he was going for the head on Thanos, he had powered up every one of the Wakandans and all the heroes in
Yeah.
Wakanda. You know,
Or how about this, considering this is
or
the same.
Thor, or like, sorry, Loki. He could have empowered Loki
Yeah.
before he fucking was killed by Thanos.
Or how about the fact that Ragnarok, by the same creative team of this film, he could have saved Asgard.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, granted, that's a story thing. I forgot to mention that it's a story thing, so we kind of bled back into the visual, but that's just like visually it looked awesome. All
Visually,
those
it looked
kids
awesome. Yeah.
picking out, also
Bifrost.
the fact that they also could all fight was
Yeah.
also really cool too. But that looked incredible. It just looked super cool. And fucking Eternity, when they name dropped Eternity, I was like, oh shit. And I mean, it's not hard to do Eternity,
No.
but this looked awesome. Like
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. Let's see more of these fucking things, the
Yeah.
Celestials
So we got the
and the others.
Celestials, we got Eternity, we've got
Galactus
we've
is right
had
around the corner.
yeah, Galactus is coming, man. There's we're stepping towards him.
So,
It's
but yeah,
it's the Bifrost.
that's right. That's right. The Bifrost. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, like getting back to the effects scene being stretched thin for a $250 million movie, there were parts that looked pretty fucking rough.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that the Shadow Realm scene didn't though. Like that
How
is, I
about
literally have it here. That was a highlight.
when Heimdall's son's head is floating in the room? How bad did that look? Oh, that looked bad. That looked
Oh,
so
it was
bad.
fucking rough. It was some
Yeah,
rough shit.
that was Doctor
There's a
Strange's
lot of rough
third
shit in
eye
that
all
movie.
over again.
A lot of rough shit in that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this yeah, but again, like it's getting back to like even in Doctor Strange 2, like big budget movies,
Hmm.
where's the budget going?
Yeah.
Like I think
Right.
I'm not even gonna like act like I can make a movie on this scale for cheap. I'm not gonna tell you that. I can't fucking do anything with computers aside from the standard normal shit that I most people can do. Email, YouTube, blah blah blah. Okay? The stuff that you do with the editing, like obviously, anybody can do that. I could learn how to do that, but that's incredible that you do it and I love it. But far be it from me to say I could do any better, but
Well,
wow.
it's you know what, man. It's getting to the point where it's like, if you guys are going to be doing this much content, these many movies, these many TV shows, maybe instead of shooting everybody in front of a green screen, you actually start using some stuff. Like maybe don't like
Cut
CGI
costs
don't
elsewhere.
CGI a car into the scene. Get a fucking car.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, exactly. You know? I
like
mean, like it's
it's
easy to say that, like, for instance, Captain America 4 is
yeah.
on the horizon, right? Okay, now we have a flying Captain America, so
Hmm.
there's going to be CGI.
Yeah.
All right, I get that, but Captain America is great because that's a character that you can kind of ground.
Hmm.
I'm not like the previous Captain America movies had a ton of CGI in those movies.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because the medium lends itself to CGI, obviously,
Hmm.
right? However, I defy you to take any one of those three Captain America movies and compare the CGI to what we've seen in the last two big budget Marvel movies and tell me which one's going to age better. I'll already tell you the Captain America movies will age better because they already have aged better.
Yes. 100%.
They look better than these movies do consistently. I'm not talking about, like, obviously you can pick apart certain scenes in all those movies and go, yeah, that kind of looks like, yeah, that kind of looks like. Overall, these movies look shoddy or not shoddy. Um, they're just rushed. Like
They're rushed. They're looking rushed. And I mean,
even in
obviously they are.
Doctor Strange 2, there's like if you rewatch it, there are some scenes where you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of rough. That is rough.
Yeah.
You know, this one I feel like is this one. I don't know.
I mean, it's still
Doctor Strange, the stuff that was awesome. Sorry to cut you off. Keep
yeah.
cutting you off. Sorry.
Yeah.
The stuff that was awesome
Asshole. Yeah.
was so like it did cover up the ones that weren't, and it wasn't so egregious. This one, it was like shitty scene after shitty scene. Like, oh, we got a really cool scene, and then it was like right back to shitty scene.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
this is like 90% CGI.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If it's
It's
ninety
too
percent
much.
CGI,
It's
then
too
you're
much.
right.
They had a visual effects team doing 3 movies a year. Now they have that visual effects team, what are we on now? 3 movies this year and 4 TV shows? It's too much. Like, you guys gotta slow it down a bit. Either that or go more grounded on the TV shows and do the big visual
Yeah,
effect heavy shit. Like Secret Invasion, I mean, you know how many visual effects are gonna
fucking guy. He's under the table now.
Oh, is he?
He's got multiple
Table.
ways to get under this table, but he decided to come all the way around to come in here. Tighten goalie down.
Camera just starts spinning. Oh man, he's
But
hilarious.
yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think go back to what we were saying. If you're gonna have two separate effects teams, one
Mhm,
for the TV shows, and that's all they do,
mhm.
and then one for the movies, and then that's all they do.
Yeah,
That's it. And I will echo your sentiment. Cut back on the amount of CGI that you're doing.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
She-Hulk as a TV show sounds cool, but it's She-Hulk. I mean, that's crazy visual effects every episode.
Well, it's also is kind of disappointing because like it's not like Banner looked like shit.
No, Hulk looked way better than She-Hulk.
Like he looked awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they have him already built. I mean,
I guess yeah, they really just have to re-render models that they had previous, but
yeah.
and maybe I don't know, maybe don't rush into these things so much. Like, I mean, we had She-Hulk announced a while ago.
Hmm.
Why not give them a fucking head start? And to be fair, I don't know how they run these ships. I have no idea how they do it. So it could be the only way to do it, but I still think have two different teams. At least have two different teams to handle it. You know,
Yeah.
and uh, and if you're gonna do a lot of TV shows, try to ground them as much, because like WandaVision, the special effects in WandaVision is actually pretty good.
They were really good, but then it was also the first show, so they had a lot of leeway going into it.
You know,
And yeah, visual effects
sorry,
never got
continue.
heavy until the end, really.
And at that point, you're a little bit more forgiving too, because you're like, yeah, okay, so this is a little rough, but it's no different than what I saw in the CW shows.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, or even in like the MCU Netflix shows, like they probably use the least amount of CGI in any of the TV shows, but you're still just like, yeah, I mean, you built up to, I mean, how do you've got two visions fighting,
Yeah.
and then you've got two sorcerers fighting. They looked really good.
Hmm.
It wasn't quite movie quality, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, it was a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
Loki was smart that they didn't do too much of that,
No, Loki
which
was
is
really
surprising.
good. Loki is
Surprising
probably,
considering.
oh well, Hawkeye too, but Hawkeye and Loki, I think, are probably the two best of the shows so far to let look movie quality.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas
exactly,
the other TV
exactly.
shows are looking like TV shows and are not part of the MCU. Like
Yeah,
Ghost Rider on Agents of Shield looked better than what She-Hulk's doing.
Ghost Rider actually looked so cool that
He
I was
looked
like almost
awesome.
tempted to watch that show
He
again,
looked
but I
awesome.
didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't. But and of course, like we forget, but Black Widow had some real shit CGI.
Yep.
Real shit CGI.
And what was the excuse on that? That movie got pushed back 2 years because of COVID.
Yeah, there was no excuse.
That should have been a tight ship right off the bat.
Yeah, imagine that went to the theater looking like that.
Yep. Luckily, No Way Home looked awesome. This kind of ties into direction too. That Taika Waititi, even though I don't agree with the way he writes characters, how he appreciates the comics enough to like do the artists of the comics justice. Like
Yep.
there was scenes in this movie that were pulled right off panels, like right off the
Yeah.
panel.
Exactly. Exactly.
So visually, because of that, I think it looked insanely good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Taika Waititi is not for everyone.
No, he's not. Um, but
However,
he's really good
I
at times.
I do feel that the presence of studio meddling in this one.
Do you think it was studio meddling, or do you think it was them loosening the leash on Taika?
No, because we
Mhm.
know that there was several cut scenes.
Yeah.
Like Bale was in scenes with quite a bit of the cast members,
Hmm.
and he said like they were cut. There's the Jeff Goldblum, the collector scene that
Yep.
was cut.
That was cut.
Okay. I honestly think that this was some more like studio meddling. I honestly think that's what it was.
Okay.
I think that they kind of went in and said, "Hey, look, we don't want to do a 3-hour movie." And I'm not suggesting that his cut was 3 hours long, but you know, uh, I mean, like what Eternals was almost 3 hours. It felt like it was four.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
exactly. Ugh, ugh.
Ugh.
So I do think a lot of this was studio meddling, because like we've said plenty of times, an extra 20 minutes, half an hour would have helped flesh this movie out more. I think it would have lended more weight to some of the actual character beats, because yeah, I loved that Thor at the end of the movie was like, just do it. Just do it, get it over with, because
Hmm.
I'm gonna spend time with the person I love for the amount of time I have her. And I was like, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And for a character like Thor, especially the way he's portrayed in the last two movies, that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge, you know? And not that I expected that this was gonna be like a very thought-provoking look at handling grief and depression, which it could have been,
Hmm.
because like at the end of Endgame, yeah, it's a bit more of a positive feel for Thor, and then even in the trailers they showed him like working out and getting back into getting into the most jacked shape that Thor's ever been in.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
glad that
like really.
Hemsworth was like, it's too hard. I'm never doing that again. That was
Yeah.
too hard to do. I'm
Why?
glad that he actually sat there and said
Wasn't
that.
he getting that big though too for the Hulk Hogan role?
Maybe.
Which I don't think is happening anymore.
It's that one's a tough call. That's a tough call. I wouldn't be surprised if that still goes through.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, well, like we've said with Jane Foster's story arc in particular, and Thor's too, how because they come together at the end,
Yeah.
would have been more impactful if we had a bit more time to breathe. And also, part of it too, I do think that the studios were kind of saying, "Hey, people really liked how funny Ragnarok was. Let's make it funnier."
Hmm.
I don't think that this was all Watiti's style of humor.
I don't know, man. I kind of disagree with you.
Okay,
I,
well, that's
I
fine.
honestly think this is more Taika than anything.
Okay,
I think maybe they saw the success of Ragnarok and said, you know what, Taika, we're going to step back and let you do more of your thing.
carte blanche.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I've watched all his movies, and outside of Jojo Rabbit, which is a little more dramatic, like he's pretty off the walls insane with this shit. And he comes from a very comedic background too, which would explain a shorter runtime.
well, I agree with that, but like, well, I'll also keep in mind too. For me, it's just been the last two Thor movies, and then What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
But like, if you like, for me to compare this to What We Do in the Shadows, like What We Do in the Shadows is hilarious,
Oh yeah.
but it's not like rapid fire. Like I'm not like it's not like watching Arrested Development or The Simpsons, where there's actually like 6 million jokes in every scene, and you
Hmm.
have to watch to go, oh yeah, but at the same time, it's still fucking hilarious. Like it's
Yeah.
like I was like, I laugh out loud with What We Do in the Shadows,
Oh, me
and
too. Me too. But I think
in
also,
Ragnarok,
yeah.
I did laugh. Like it was a really funny movie. I just hated his character. I hated Thor's character
Yes.
in the entire movie, and it was like, and especially with this one now too, it's like it's a big fat step backwards for the character, even though I like that they put more of a Hemsworth in it because it makes more sense to do
Hmm.
that. He's a charismatic funny guy.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
it's just, why does he have to be so fucking dumb? And maybe you're right, maybe that's where the studio made, like the scenes that were cut, maybe they were cut because they were just like, look, okay, we have to cut some of this shit. Like,
Hmm.
so they went like, you can do whatever you want. And then after the fact, they're like, okay, all right, fuck.
Yeah.
Kind of shot ourselves in the foot here. We have to.
Wow. it,
So you might be right. You might be right.
it's hard to say. But regardless, this is yeah, it's rough, and I wish. I wish I don't know. I'm thinking like What We Do in the Shadows. I absolutely love the movie. It's hilarious. But if that was that same movie with Marvel characters, I probably wouldn't like it. So maybe it's the fact that Taika is playing with characters where we know as being one certain way, and it just doesn't register with me.
You know what? I would say like it would have to depend on the characters, because you're right. Like, because we've said like this is the two times now that we've got this version of Thor. This version right now, like the Love and Thunder Thor,
Yeah.
I don't understand how anyone likes him.
Ugh.
Like, in retrospect, this has made Thor's character in Ragnarok better,
Yeah.
because like it's a bit of a backslide because he's a bit more of that douchey bro jock type character, but at least by the like at the end of the movie, like I'm still just like, okay, like it's the worst representation of Thor for me, but he's still retaining some of that heroic aspect, and he's not completely retarded.
Mhm.
Whereas in this one, he's absolutely retarded in this one. Like he's not even
Oh,
like he's dumb. Like first of all, he's dumb.
he's
He's the
dumb.
dumbest he's ever been. And like I
Yeah.
go back to that. No one's saying that these guys are like geniuses. Not every one of these characters have to be really smart, but I mean, are you going to follow a guy into battle just because he's got a shield on his arm and he calls himself captain, but he's a fucking dumbass? Like he's the stupidest guy in the room? You're not going to follow him. Same with Thor. Why would you follow the dumbest fucking guy in the room? That only makes you stupider. Like you're
I,
now the dumbest guy in the room for following the dumbest guy in the room,
yeah.
right? And I said to Michelle when this movie was over, I was like, "So are we done with dumb Thor? Are we done with dumb Thor who has a love triangle with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker?" I hated those sequences. I absolutely hated
Where
those
he's talking
sequences.
with the hammer. I almost
And
feel like
he's saying
Jane.
things to Stormbreaker, like he's like, "Oh, don't, hey, look, don't worry about it," you know.
Yeah.
Or even the fact that he's considered to be unworthy, and yet he's holding like Mjolnir. Like it should have been like the scene where he goes to touch Mjolnir and it goes back. That was cool.
Hmm.
But when he goes to touch Mjolnir, it should have been like, "Oh yeah, that's right, I'm not worthy."
Hmm.
You know, they don't do anything. They don't touch upon that aspect at all. There's something that he did that he's no longer worthy to have the hammer,
And we don't
but
know what
yet
it is because at the
but yet he's holding it. No big deal. They're trading it off. Like I was just like, like, ugh.
I almost wish Jane would have said something in the movie like, "Did you hit your head really hard during that Thanos attack?" Or
Yeah.
like,
Like
what
I
happened
mean,
to you? What happened to you?
and yeah, they did that montage of how the relationship broke up, but I'm sitting there going like, that's still like, yeah, you're right. Like at some point, someone should have said, "Hey, dude, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is happening? You're so dumb.
What kind of drugs were you doing with the Galaxy or the Guardians? Like,
You're so dumb. You're so dumb and annoying that the Guardians of the Galaxy, Peter Quill, is looking at you like you're a fucking loser,
yeah.
and you're the god of thunder."
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that blew me away. Like even in the trailer, and they had that thing where he's trying to like catch his eye.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of funny. But then when you see the actual whole scene, and of course the Guardians are just kind of like, yeah, okay, here comes Thor, and there's like, yeah, cool.
Hmm.
Like again, like Thor should be like Thor Ragnarok, even though he was like not what I was expecting in terms of that character, there was still an aspect of coolness to him. There
Yes.
was still like an aspect of coolness where so even when he goes like, it's okay, I'm friends with him from work, you're like, that's kind of funny. And then he gets the shit kicked out of him, and you're like, oh, okay. And then of course, the rest of that movie happens, and like there were stakes in that movie. I mean, sure, he got to eternity, but I actually was thinking like he's not gonna wish for the end of the world. He's gonna just wish for love to come back, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with the ending. Uh, I don't, I don't know where they're gonna go with this because it's weird that he, it's weird that not so much that he picked her up. It's weird that he was raising her.
Yeah.
That's the part that was weird for me. I could see them being like buddy buddy because of that, like the little bit of time they shared together, you know.
Yeah.
But like it was really weird that no, he's living with her and they're going on missions together, and he still has Stormbreaker
Hmm.
and not the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's a
then
weird
after
way to
that,
end
and
this.
then after that ending, that's pretty definitive as an ending for the Thor franchise. They have Hercules pop up and basically say he's going to go after Thor, and then you're like, uh, what?
I still think the amount of money this movie made and the inclusion of Hercules, I still firmly believe they're going to do a Thor 5.
Mm,
Because like, well, the this what Avengers 6 was it? No, it's yeah.
Yeah, the King Dynasty.
Avengers 6 is what, 2026?
They come out the same year, don't they? Are they 2026 or 2025?
No, I thought one was 2025 and the other was 2026. Can you just check to double check?
I'm pretty sure they're
Check
coming
to be
out.
sure.
I'm pretty sure they're coming out the same year. Let me see here.
They're doing the Matrix 2 and 3 again, where it's 6 months in between.
They are, yeah.
That's
Uh
gonna backfire on them.
the King Dynasty, Secret Wars, both 2025.
Okay,
Same
so it's
year.
2025. That's gonna backfire.
Yep.
Like, there's no way that both movies are gonna do 3 billion in the same year.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
Unless they release it in January and then again in December or something, so like they're that far apart,
Which would be the smartest way to do it, but I don't think
but
they're going
they're
to.
gonna be summer and fall. They're gonna be like 3 months apart. Yeah.
I would be surprised if one of those Avengers movies made 3 billion.
They won't.
No, they won't. They won't. But anyway,
Yeah.
but then you have Thor 5 at 2026. We're not too far removed.
I guess it would depend on whether he comes back for one of these and how he's.
There's no way he's not in any of the Avengers movies. But I guess the other part too is like because it's sorry, what's the second one? The sixth?
Secret Wars.
Yeah, Secret Wars. So depending on how Secret Wars shakes out, because if they do Secret Wars like they did it in the most recent comic books,
Yeah.
where it's like a redo of everything,
Mm-hmm.
then Thor 5 might be with a recasted Thor.
Could be. It could be. I don't know.
Could even be Liam Hemsworth, a younger, not by much. Like it's not like it's, but
Yeah.
because again, like it's easy to say he'll be back for the fifth movie, just based on the money here. But now we're talking like he's going to be what? He's what, 42?
No, I think he's our age, man.
Oh well, then in that case,
Let's see.
then 4 years from now won't be too bad.
Hemsworth. Oh, he's younger than us. He was born in '83.
Okay, yeah. So
He's got at least another 5 years in him if he wants.
yeah, yeah. So and I mean, because I feel there's no way he's not in both Avengers movies.
Yeah.
He's going to be in that shape. So I think it's going to be they'll go back to doing it like they did before, where they're all shooting multiple movies at the same time.
Yeah.
Because like that's what like Evans was saying. I remember they all said the same thing. Like it's tough because you're shooting scenes for like three different movies, so you're never really you have to maintain that shape for like 2 fucking years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like you get in shape for, this 2 or 3 scenes where they have to see you shirtless and then that's it for the rest of the movie. No, it's you have to get in shape, stay in shape because, you're in Captain America 1,
Yeah.
you're in Avengers, and then you're in Captain America 2, you know, and then you're in Avengers 2,
Yeah.
and you're like, I guess I'm Steve Rogers forever now. So I think that's going to be what they do too. I think that's what's going to happen because that's the other part too. A lot of these movies, there's too much time in between. I was amazed that Doctor Strange did so well, considering it's what 6 years in between.
Oh yeah.
But luckily, he
Yeah,
was in a
6 years.
bunch of movies, so it's not
He
like
was. He was. It wasn't just like you haven't seen him in 6 years. Like
yeah. And you're like,
yeah.
what have you been doing for 6 years,
Yeah.
Mister Sorcerer, Grand Sorcerer Supreme?
Oh, ruining the life of a teenager. Good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing to come back,
Yeah.
check in, and see that. But so I think that's kind of where they're at. But I also think after those two movies, we might see a shift back towards more movie focus
Mm-hmm.
and less TV focus. But it's tough to say because again, we're talking about movies that like they I feel like they think they're gonna get back to the billion-dollar franchises. And I love superhero movies. I really do, and I do think that they're still gonna be a staple for many years to come.
Yeah.
But the peak is gone now.
The only way that one of those Avengers movies makes close to 3 billion like Endgame is if they somehow bring back Tony Stark as Steve Rogers.
And Secret Wars is the best place to, or Kang Dynasty
Yeah.
is one of the ways they could do it. But Secret Wars is probably the easiest way
And
to
I'm
do
not
it.
just talking like the characters. I'm talking like Rob Downey Jr. and Chris Evans.
No. I know.
Yeah.
You're
I
saying Chris
mean,
Evans, and I think they might actually do that. But even then, I mean, that just means that one is going to do big numbers, and the
mhm.
other one might not.
Yeah.
You know, because even like if you look at it now, we're past the point where casual fans are like, yeah, we have to see this.
Mhm.
Especially now. Like it's funny because before the casual fan, you like I said before, like you could watch every one of those movies and go into one of the Avengers movies and go, fuck yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or only watch whatever ones you want to watch and still watch the Avengers movies and go, okay, cool. I don't really need to know everything. Now I feel like more so, it's almost like you have to watch every single thing, otherwise you have no idea what's going on.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see how they play that, you know?
Yeah.
Because like the TV shows, they said you could watch the TV shows or not, and it won't fucking matter. But now you have to watch the TV shows.
Now you have to.
Yeah, if you watch the Marvels without having seen WandaVision or Miss Marvel,
Yep.
you're gonna be like, who the fuck are these people? I know
Right?
who Captain Marvel is,
Yeah.
you know? I
Yeah.
don't know who the fuck these other two. They look cool. I mean, they seem cool.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are they, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But like even Avengers, I thought Avengers did such a good job of introducing all the characters in a way that you didn't have to watch the movies. You didn't have to watch any of the movies,
No.
but you got a sense of Captain America within the first 2 minutes when he's punching and he's talking with Fury, and so within 2 minutes, he was in the past.
Mhm.
Future's new to him.
Yep.
He's back to being Captain America
Yep.
and doesn't quite know his place in the world, right?
Yeah.
With Black Widow, 2 minutes, you knew she was a fucking badass.
Oh
You
yeah.
didn't have to watch Iron Man 2. It was a compliment, but you knew she was a fucking badass.
Mhm.
Then another 3 minutes now is her interacting with Banner, and boom. It's almost like they're overthinking everything when they should just go back and go, no, no, simplify it. And
Yep.
assume that not everyone is going to watch fucking hours. In some cases, 9 hours of TV just to watch a 2.5 hour movie. And that's just like one thing. So like Marvel's, it's 9 hours of WandaVision. It's 6 hours of Miss Marvel. It's 15 hours. Okay. And we have to add in the 2 hours for Captain Marvel. That's, that's
Yeah.
almost an entire day's worth of shit just to watch another 2 fucking hour movie. Like,
Oh man, I read a funny fucking tweet online where one guy was like, I feel bad for Marvel fans in 2050 when they have to watch 90 movies and 150 TV shows to get to understand the new movie.
yeah, like I mean, okay, great for me because I was in on the ground floor,
Yeah. Yeah.
But even like Michelle has said a couple of times with some of these movies, she's like, do I have to watch anything before I watch this movie? And it's like, no, you don't have to watch anything. She's like, okay, let's watch this
Okay,
movie.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but again, like it all comes down to pacing and stuff like that too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think like part of this too is because of COVID. So I feel like there's also that pressure to catch up, right? Because they're probably looking at it like we're behind the 8 ball now,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yep.
is insane because Disney's a multi-billion-dollar company.
Hmm.
Uh,
I think you
but you
guys
know
are
what I
okay.
don't hear? I don't hear complaints about the effects teams in any of the Star Wars shows.
No.
There's no complaints about the special effects there at all.
Yeah.
I wonder why. You've got two of the biggest franchises at your three, if you want to count Disney as its own separate franchise, which it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you got Star Wars, and then you got the MCU.
Hmm.
You can pull. I know the CEOs don't want to hear this. But you can pour more money into these projects.
Yeah.
I know it might affect your specific bottom line, but I mean, you're already making money hand over fist. Okay.
Maybe they shouldn't have bought Fox yet until James Cameron was done with his Avatar movies.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You got Avatar
Sorry,
as well.
Marvel. Your visual effects department just got shrunk in half because we had to lend some people to Avatar.
I don't think that's the case because he already had a team in place
Oh yeah,
regardless.
no, he's got his own team.
He's got his own group of people.
Yeah, he's got the best of the best, and that's why Marvel looks so shitty right now.
No, he had the best of the best prior to that though.
Yeah.
Okay, like even when it was like Marvel and Disney, and that was it.
Hmm.
You know, he still had the best of the best.
Well, he hasn't done a movie since 2009. All
That's
those
because they've
people
been
between
working on it.
avatars were
That's
working for
because they
Marvel.
were working on it.
They were working for Marvel.
Still, but just have your own team. Split it up. Have your team for TV.
I
Have
agree.
your team
I
for
agree.
movies. You know, and don't cross over. And also, strangely enough, don't feel the need to tie everything in.
Hmm.
You know, like it was smart to have Miss Marvel do a TV show because they were going to introduce her to that show. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know, or just get better at recapping. You know, like I mean, obviously, I we'll have to watch the Marvels to see how they pace that movie, to see how they introduce these two characters,
Yeah.
and then of course reintroduce Captain Marvel. So who knows? It might be kind of closer to the first 20 minutes of Avengers.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or any of the other events. Like even with the Russos, there was always a reintroduction of these characters. They weren't just like, yeah, you guys watched everything. You know, that was still just like, well, this is where Cap's at now. He's, no beard. He's got a beard on. He's
Yeah.
got long hair. He
Yeah.
hasn't washed his suit in a while because shit happened. And Tony fucking hates him.
That's why the Russos were perfect, man.
Oh yeah.
I
Which
right
is weird
now,
because like
yeah.
Extraction and the Gray Man aren't really that good.
I haven't seen the Gray Man yet, but I've heard bad things.
It's
Extraction was decent, but nothing fantastic. I haven't watched
Extraction
Cherry
was
yet. I haven't watched Cherry.
Cherry. What's Cherry?
That's that Tom Holland one that was also directed by
Oh
him.
yeah. No, I haven't watched that one. I've heard that was really good.
Yeah.
So Extraction was good, but I have not watched it since. It was just one of those where I was like, okay, this is good,
It
but I
was
had
good.
no desire to see it again.
Yeah.
Gray Man, there was stuff I liked, and the fight scenes were like the actual hand-to-hand fight scenes were pretty good. CGI is god awful.
Really?
It's really, really bad.
Mm,
Um, the story is pretty like you can kind of where it's going.
yeah, yeah,
Like I wanted to watch it. I watched it. Probably never watch it again.
yeah.
I'll be
Well,
amazed if I watch it again.
at least you watched it once.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, so to recap, Thor: Love and Thunder. The stuff that I liked does not come close to equaling out the stuff that I didn't like. I feel like it's getting more and more egregious.
I'm going to start the video off with that. To recap, Thor: Love and Thunder.
That's our clip for the
Yeah,
next week.
that's it, right?
That's our promo clip for hyping up Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was
No,
I don't think I dislike it. I don't think I dislike it as much as you, but it's still uh it
the
had
worst part is okay. Go no, continue.
no, it had decent things. Like it's that fucking thing with Hela again. Like I love Kate Blanchett so much in Ragnarok, but I never feel like burning myself through Ragnarok to get to her. And now with Bale, I want to see Gorr again, but I don't want to watch this Thor again. So yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing, horribly disappointing.
The worst part for me is like watching Ragnarok and
Mhm.
knowing that it's the exact same crew that did Ragnarok. So, and I called it. I said I knew that they were going to lean into the comedy a lot more,
Mhm.
which, and I think I said it even in our Camcast, which is going to be weird to see how they handle the cancer aspects. And I hate that I was right.
Yeah.
I really hate that I was right because, like, it'd be one thing if with Ragnarok it was like okay whatever and like now that he's played around in that sandbox he gets a better feel for these characters, right?
Yeah.
Like because there's certain things like Jane was dorky throughout the entire movie,
Mhm.
but I never once questioned it. I never once was like I
No,
don't
because
know because
she's always been
in
kind of
Thor
dorky.
1 and in Thor 2 she was always kind of dorky and she's a fucking like a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
So she's going to be nerdy in that
Mhm.
aspect, but she's also just dorky in general and I was like I liked that, right? And also, how can you be friends with Darcy
Yeah.
and not be a little weird yourself? She doesn't lend herself to normal people.
No. No, no.
So that I had no issues with at all. At no point in time was I like, I don't know. It's but Thor again is the biggest glaring issue for me. It's like, how does he get dumber and dumber and dumber? And people and also this is the first time we've seen like people actively not wanting to be around him because he's so fucking dumb.
Yeah. It's true.
And even like even Valkyrie and Mighty Thor were hesitant to go along with his plan because it was dumb. Because not the plan itself, but it was just like we gotta follow this guy. And I guess I would have also liked to see more Mighty Thor. Like, I mean, you can't do too much, right? Because then it kind of robs of her first appearance.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
After that, it would have been nice to see a little bit more. But overall, yeah, I really, 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 really did not like this movie, which is a shame because there's stuff that I liked in this
Uh-huh.
movie. It's just like I said, it just the stuff that I didn't like, just
I found I before I watched this, I was wondering if I was gonna miss Tom Hiddleston in it, being the first Thor without him, and I didn't. I'm actually glad he wasn't there because
I was just about to say the
he didn't
same
have
thing.
to attach himself to this movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and also Ragnarok is way better than this movie in the sense that Led Zeppelin was awesome and Guns N' Roses was so overkill. Like, I was
The
so
first time, I was like, okay,
yeah.
cool.
And
And
then the
then I was like, is
second,
the entire
and then
soundtrack
the
just
third,
Guns N' Roses songs?
yeah, the whole
And it
soundtrack.
was. It was.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like I never thought I would say this. Okay, but I'm gonna say this. This is a first. Okay.
Mhm.
Thor Ragnarok is actually a better movie than this movie. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I mean I do think it's a better movie than The Dark World. So there is that.
This is
It's just
better
the
than
worst.
yeah.
No, no, no. This is better than The Dark World,
Okay.
uh, but not by much. It might even be like this. Might even be like neck and neck. I don't want to, but I have to
I'm
rewatch
gonna have to
Dark
say
World.
that Dark World's better than this.
Story-wise, it's better. It's a more cohesive
It's
story.
got the worst villain in probably all the MCU.
The worst depiction.
Yeah.
Because like they have a solid, like he's a fucking great actor.
Oh, Christopher
Great actor.
Elseton or whatever. He's a great actor.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But they decided to say, yeah, we're gonna have him speak gibberish.
Mhm.
Sorry, Elven. No English at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that robs all the gravitas, all the malice, all the stuff that you want to infuse in a villain is gone, because now you have to have somebody else go, by the way, he wants to destroy everything because he's a bad guy. I think you might be right. You are right. Story-wise, Dark World is better.
Dark World is better, yeah.
Another weird thing to say.
Yeah.
There's actually a movie that's worse than The Dark World. Strange times we're living in.
Eternals. Eternals is still at the bottom of my list. Oh yes.
Oh yeah. No.
Oh,
Eternals
yes.
is worse than this. Eternals is worse than this.
It's just Eternals and Moon Knight. Just We're in
that's because like at least I did find stuff funny in this movie. There were some things I laughed at.
There was some things.
There was some really cool visuals in this movie.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, the cast, aside from a couple of wasted instances, Tessa Thompson was 100% wasted. You disagree. Natalie Portman, I felt, was a little bit wasted, even though she shouldn't have been, considering her story was should have been a larger chunk of this. But other than that, yeah, Eternals is just fuck. It's bleak.
Yeah.
It's hopeless. Nothing makes sense.
And
Nothing
again,
at all makes sense.
Yeah, and that just touches like Marvel doesn't know when to do a TV show and when to do a movie. Eternals should have been a TV show.
Oh yeah, 100%. But also they should have realized if you're going to have your end piece having the birth of a celestial in the middle of planet Earth,
yeah,
and not have no one else show up, and also after that, you notice how no one's referenced anything?
Nothing.
No one has actually sat there and said,
still there.
Hey, isn't it weird that there's a hand coming out of the fucking Earth?
Yeah. Like
because it didn't just disappear.
Thor could have came back to New Asgard and went, hey, you guys realize that like in the middle of the ocean there's a giant hand?
Yeah. Are we not doing anything about that? Are we just going to leave that there?
Yeah.
Is it a tourist attraction as well, just like New Asgard?
Maybe.
Which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, that's
funny. That is a
funny way to drum up business there. I like that.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. So yeah.
Overall, yeah.
If you like it, great. that's all I can say. I mean, obviously people did because it made $770 million. No, 760. Yeah, 759. So I mean, obviously people watched it. They liked it. Good for you. I'm glad that pressed that happy button for you. Didn't for me.
No.
Or it did, but it was just like quick press and let's pile on some more shit.
Your finger went against it, did a little rub, but pulled away.
Yeah. Oh, and we're good.
Oh,
we're
no
good.
push.
We're good.
No push.
That's really all I gotta say, guys.
That's Love and Thunder. So if you like this this new setup that we had going here, let us know down below. We'd like to know.
If you didn't, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, it was Chris's idea.
Yeah, it was. It totally was.
It was.
But let us know, and also but also be a little forgiving because this is the first time trying the format, and I literally sprung it on Ken like 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I gave him a week in advance. Like, oh hey, I went, oh maybe we'll do this. Hey Ken, let's do this, and you were like, sure, cool.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down with it.
I want to talk about music, but we didn't really talk about it because after 3 Guns N' Roses songs, you're like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm checking out.
I don't want any more Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Please shut up about Guns N' Roses.
Let's just play the Guns N' Roses greatest hits and save money on a composer. Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, so like Ken said, let us know what you thought about the proposed new structure, which for the foreseeable future, that's what it'll be, unless you guys hate it or Ken and I agree we should just go back to rambling like crazy. As always, we love that you guys continue to support us and that you continue to check us out on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on geekpantsmedia.com. We love that you check us out on SoundCloud and Google and Apple Podcasts. We love that you're checking us out on pretty much every possible fucking way that you can. So thank you for continuing to do that.
At
Thanks
this
for all the
point,
support.
we're really just not on OnlyFans. We got to do the Geek Pants OnlyFans page.
Yeah,
that's coming.
Yeah,
that's coming.
Oh, and Patreon. That's the other one we
Patreon. Oh yeah. All
That's
right,
the
that's
big
the
one.
one. That's the one where you can
That's
make
the
money without
first
showing
tier.
your body.
The first tier, and then it's OnlyFans. And to be fair, you've already shown your body on this. I haven't.
I have.
You gave that shit up for free. I probably will. At some point, just not yet.
That'll be your first tier on Patreon. Chris's body.
And then immediately we're done. Yeah, we were fine with Kenneth, but that fucking ugh.
Yeah. Wow.
There's something about being short and fat that does nothing for anyone.
Yeah.
Except for my
hey,
wife,
you get the full image. Yeah, the centaur.
Yeah, my wife's the only one that still keeps coming back, so I'm good. I'm okay. I'm all right. And I'm very thankful for that. We have sex. It's awesome.
Oh, congratulations.
That's another clip for you. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. We have sex. It's nice.